Welcome to Fernando's rant of the day on my way to work here. And I just want to recap a little bit about what we spoke about yesterday. So yesterday we touched on one of the mental faculties that are more important than knowledge and intelligence. And that's our ability to use our imagination, right? And we gave some examples. Now, there's another mental faculty that I want to discuss today that's as important as your imagination. This is literally, if you learn how to harness this, it's going to make you literally unstoppable, okay? So let me tell you a little story. When I got to Mattress Firm, when I started my selling career, I was working really hard, and really quickly, in a few months, I ended up being at the highest producing store in all of Houston, one of the highest producing stores in all of Houston, over by the Galleria in Westheimer. So I was living the dream. I was there with a mentor of mine, Amir, and he was teaching me the art and science of selling, and we were doing great. So it was a given that we were gonna max out our budget. We were at will selling 100K a month, all of us, pretty much all of us. At any given month, we were doing 100K each a month. So I was well on my way to achieving my goal of being $1 million writer my first year with the company. All is well, right? Well, until the moment came where we realized that I wasn't really good at the operational side of the job. I was screwing up tickets. I was writing we had this really antiquated computer system that I wasn't really versed in. It wasn't very intuitive, and I kept screwing up the tickets. And so my managers decided that they needed to put me at a store by myself so I could learn the skill, or else I'm never gonna learn it, right? So I get pulled out of that store, and they send me to this medium-sized store over by just another part of town in the Heights area. And my dreams were smashed on the ground. There's no way I'm gonna be able to write $1 million in sales out of this store. I did research, no $1 million writers ever came out of that store. It was an okay store, but it wasn't where I thought I should be, right? Where I can achieve my goal. Now here's what happened. I got really fucking pissed off, like angry. And I was able to tap into this mental faculty that if you combine this with your imagination, you're gonna be literally unstoppable. You're gonna be able to do things that people are gonna look at you like you're some kind of superhero. But you're not. It's just a human faculty that most people don't harness. And that is the power of the will. The will. Well, what's the will? So what I did was, let me give you a little example. So the will is kind of like the sun is shining down on us right now, right? But the sun doesn't incinerate the earth, right? So what the will is, I've heard a speaker talk about this, actually Napoleon Hill in his work, The Laws of Success. So most people know Napoleon Hill's work, Think and Grow Rich, but you need to read Napoleon Hill's The Laws of Success. It goes even deeper than Think and Grow Rich. So in Think and Grow Rich, he talks extensively about the will. So what the will is, so the light beams are shining down, but it's not incinerating the earth. The will is like grabbing the magnifying glass, putting it under the beams of the sun, and then what does the magnifying glass do? It concentrates all of those beams that are coming down from the sun into one little area, and it's literally like a laser beam, and it's able to incinerate everything in its path. That's the power of the will. So I wasn't gonna be stopped. I literally made a decision. This is how you ignite your will. You make a decision that you're gonna cast all other options out of the way, and you're gonna focus on one objective. One, which is really hard to do because we're being bombarded with literally hundreds and thousands of messages, ideas that are coming at us every day. And then we have hundreds of thousands and millions of our own little ideas that are bubbling in our brains every single day. How do I push hundreds of thousands of ideas that are coming at me out of the way and move hundreds of thousands of ideas that are floating in my head out of the way and laser beam focus on one objective? by harnessing your will. You just will it. You push. You fucking push those ideas out of the way. You say no a lot. You say no a lot. You're gonna hurt a lot of people's feelings. People want you to do what they want you to do. But you have to harness the power of your will to concentrate all of that energy and power into one single objective. Why? Because it's that important. It's that important. If you're going after your dream, you need to harness the power of your will. And you combine this with your imagination, you're gonna be completely unstoppable. Unstoppable. So what did I do? I literally spent every waking hour studying the art and science of selling. Every waking hour. I knew that was gonna give me the advantage because I knew people would just go home, live their life. I went home and studied more. Studied until my eyes were literally about to bleed. I would study and read and then go into my store and then practice everything I was studying and reading. The power of the will. Push everything else out of the way. Concentrate all your effort and energy on one single idea and use your imagination, get creative. By the end of that year, I literally outwrote everybody in my district, even the Galleria store, out of this little Sawyer Heights store. And the cherry on top was I outsold my mentor, Amir Baha, that year. And he was at the Galleria store. Why? Was I more intelligent than he was? No. Did I have more experience than he did or everyone else did? No. I had less experience. I had less knowledge at that point. That was my first year. Did I have some special, unique power? Yes. The power that you have too. The power of the will and your imagination. Let me just wrap it up with this. The Wright brothers. Think about what the Wright brothers did. So yesterday we talked about how they harnessed their imagination to be able to use art and living, they would observe birds and the way they would fly to be able to solve some of the problems that they came up with trying to unlock the code of powered man flight, right? And so they used their imagination, but when they got stuck, they had to harness their will to keep going, to use their imagination. Think about what Steve Jobs did with the iPhone. He was quoted hundreds of times talking about perseverance, harnessing the power of your will to push, to be able to get what you want. The will can move mountains. Your will, you can actually will things into existence that you have no business willing into existence if you use a little creativity and the power of your will. Think about, again, Einstein with some of the work that he did, or Thomas Edison. Think about Thomas Edison as he was working on the light bulb. He had to harness the power of his imagination and his will to be able to say, no, I'm going to invent this impossible thing called the light bulb. The Wright brothers, we're going to fly. Man is going to fly one way or another. I'm gonna imagine it. I'm gonna will it into existence. And you can bend the forces of nature to do your bidding if you harness the power of your will and use a little imagination. Are you getting this? The will. Will it into existence. Use your imagination and you will be completely unstoppable. Okay? Use the power of your will, make it happen, push all distractions out of the way, focus on one idea, and if you can't get your mind to focus on one idea, will your mind to focus on one fucking idea for long enough and create a laser beam that you will incinerate everything in your path that's gonna keep you from your dream. Incinerate it with the power of your will and your imagination, okay? So have a great day, incinerate the day with the power of your will, be creative, use your imagination, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.